When I'm thinking about selecting a challenge, a record attempt, or an FKT, usually it's a combination of wanting something that's reasonably competitive with something that's scenically pleasing, and ideally something a little bit personal, a little bit of history with it. If you can get all three of those factors together, then that's an enticing package. I think the more personal something is, the more history you have with it, or at least the longer you've been sort of thinking about it or studying it, that gives it more meaning. That can help when it gets hard, because it matters more to you, it means more. If you're daunted by a challenge, the longer you leave it, the more daunting it can become. And I was almost in danger of that with the Pennine Way, of just putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. In a way, I might never have got round to it if it wasn't for my pesky friend over in Somerset going ahead of me, and no races for the year. That made it all the more, I just had no excuses left. Well, there are two schools of thought with what sort of distance you should go for. One is, of course, the more logical gradual progression. You've done a 50-mile run, maybe you could do a 70, 80 or 100 and then and so on. And that's the sort of, I suppose, the textbook approach. But I would always endorse the idea of biting off a bit more than you can chew and jumping in. I've done that sometimes early on in my ultra running. That can still be exciting. It'd probably be a little bit harder, but it can still work. What's brown and sticky? Don't know. Stick. I don't think people should worry about failure at all, because, I mean, ultimately, what is this stuff? It should be fun. We're kind of playing in a way, so it would be a shame if you never got around to something because you're afraid it wouldn't work out. I think the failure is to never try, to be honest.
5:59. Good luck. Oh bugger. Better go then.
Good luck.
Try and get some fun drinking them, and I'll try and get the gear.
Waterproof.
We have a plan.
We're so on it.
Selecting a road crew, it can come down to, beggars not being choosers, if I'm honest. There aren't loads of people around who, are really experienced and can give up the time to be a road crew person. So you're very lucky if you know some of the right people. From my limited experience, the people who are the best are incredibly forgiving of your bad smells and bad moods and change of heart on all your food orders. And I suppose, ultimately they're going to be experienced at doing this sort of stuff. They're going to understand ultra runners, but I suppose they've got to be very efficient. There's a lot of pressure on them to meet you at 3 a.m. in some little town or village in miserable weather. They've got to be good at that, unflustered. I mean, there's so many skills come into it, really. A lot of problem solving. They've also got to be good at the psychological side of things. They might almost be down to them on giving you that vital cattle prod at the backside to keep you going, but sometimes showing a bit more of a caring side and trying to understand you enough to know which of those is going to work at that particular time. So the road crew people I've been very lucky to have help me, and I've seen work for other people have just been incredible individuals who have massive skill set, and ultimately I suppose they've just got they've got a big heart and they just want to help, which is incredible, really.
So hopefully it's enough to just revive him for another section, and then we'll just catch him for 10 minutes, put him back together, and just
kick him to the next
continue that until we get to Edale.
I just felt like a running aid station. I was trying to figure out where I could put all the different kit, gear, like sausage rolls and fruit and everything, and even spaghetti. So,
depending on the challenge, support runners can be incredibly helpful. There are at least two main roles. One would normally be the navigator. They might journey on a little way ahead, taking hopefully a lot of the mental stress away from you. You're not having to think about which direction or what's coming up next. And then maybe if there's a second person, they might be a mule for you. They might be carrying your sandwiches and your hot flask of tea and some spare kit. So they're going to have to be strong and fit and uncomplaining. And if they're good at that, they will also be not just sort of saying, are you hungry or thirsty, but literally handing you the food, because after a few hours when you're going off food, it's kind of their job to literally sort of handing you stuff, almost force feeding you. It's a tough job, and the people who are best at it are very efficient, very professional. I mean, Nikki Spinks's mantra is it's a job, not a jolly. And it doesn't matter if you're doing a challenge that's 200 miles or 20 miles, just having having a smiley face, some encouraging words, someone you know, someone you feel is looking out for you. I mean, that can make all the difference, to be honest.
You all right, Jason?
Yeah, you?
Yeah, thank you so much for coming out.
It's all right. And he's taken a curry sandwich away with him, hasn't he?
Fueling becomes more and more important the longer the challenge and the harder it is to keep the calories going in. I find variety is important because I go off the sweet stuff. John Kelly can eat Krispy Kremes for 24 hours, but I prefer a bit more variety and real hot tea.
Doing really well. Thank you.
On the Pennine Way, avocado and hummus sandwiches were a very happy accident, which kept me going for a good day.
Avocado and hummus sandwiches, they are the future. They're good.
I tend to do these things without animal products, which does make it trickier, but yeah, sandwiches, chocolate, fruit, anything really, anything that will go in. Soup, liquid calories is a really good tactic. That could be sort of milkshakes and fizzy drinks and soups. Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time thinking about food, but I suppose when I'm running the Pennine Way, actually the opposite happens, and after a few hours you go off food and you get palate fatigue and you look at all the stuff that you've brought and it all looks disgusting to you. That's kind of almost the make or break time, the crux of it is, can you get those calories in? But often that's when a really good crew can come in. On my Pennine Way, Jess came up with some rice pudding that I hadn't asked for, rice pudding with raspberries in, which was really showed his experience because it had a special tang to it, and that was absolutely perfect at that time. And another tactic is actually, sloppy food. So by that I mean, porridge, rice pudding, custard, baked beans, the stuff you don't really have to chew or it's not going to be sharp on your mouth. That stuff can be really effective. Yeah, it's important to train your gut or practice with that food stuff. Those foodstuffs in training, although if I'm honest, often something fresh comes along you hadn't considered, and that can go down well as well. But it is important to practice it, definitely.
Run to eat or eat to run?
I think both, to be honest. Look at all this. I'm in heaven, I can just stuff my face.
Come on, Damo, where you been?
I think it was Martin Stone who said that when it comes to creating a schedule, really you're just trying to inform your road crew of roughly when you're going to be at places. And to be honest, nearly every single challenge I've been on that's had a schedule, the person is almost never on their schedule after a few hours. Personally, most of the time I'll create a more kind of relaxed schedule, because then I'm going to be mentally more relaxed. Hopefully it means I'm ahead of it, and that's a much better feeling than being behind it.
He's about, half an hour, 20 minutes up? So he's up on his schedule, and he wanted that cushion.
I mean, sometimes there isn't much choice. Some of the records I've broken, it has come down to just a few minutes at the end. I think every single time I've always ended up sort of hating the schedule. Yeah, you're kind of cursing it and annoyed that you haven't quite matched it on a particular split. It ends up being a swear word, really. It is helpful to build something of a buffer if you can on your schedule. Maybe you need a power nap or a bit more time to get food in, change kit, so on. Ideally you get ahead of schedule so that you've got that bit of cushion, but sometimes it's not possible.
14:40
What?
and it's 13:48. It's 50 minutes up.
Recceing, I mean, if you have recceed a route from a competitive level, that is going to help, but from an adventure level, it takes something away. So I'm very glad, for example, that when Beth Pascal and I ran the Cape Wrath Trail, neither of us had been on that trail at all before, which made it a real adventure. And we were lucky that, we were still able to break the record. It depends how competitive the record is, but I think a lot of these things, there's a pendulum swinging between adventure and sort of athletics, how competitive it is. And you've got to decide which of those appeals more. Recceing can help with confidence as well, in that the more thorough your preparation, the more you've done to get ready for something, the more confidence you will have in your ability to achieve it. For example, on the Pennine Way, I did get 3 recce's in, and that helped me feel calmer, more confident about what I was doing. So it might be learning a left from a right, not taking a wrong turning, but also it may mean you're mentally more relaxed, calmer, more confident when it comes to it.